Donald Trump has won a tremendous victory against the massed forces of liberalism. He won it against an army of hardened enemies who have made him the most hated man in American history. In 2016, calling Donald Trump a racist and a white supremacist didn't stop him. This time, Democrats thought that calling him a fascist and a threat to democracy would do the trick. They yelled fascist so loudly and so often that just 10 days before the election, an ABC poll reported that half of Americans see Donald Trump as a fascist. Well, does this election mean that 70 million Americans think fascism is fine, or that the word just doesn't mean anything? The name calling doesn't matter. The big message is that tens of millions of Americans refuse to be told what to think by the elites, media, corporations, churches, universities, anybody. And this is a beautiful thing. But was this a victory for whites? 2016 did feel like a victory for us. This one, less so. Partly it's because his enemies didn't paint him as racist so much as authoritarian. He would be a dictator, punish his enemies, control judges, rather than play patty cake with what then was called the alt-right. Another reason this feels less like a victory for us is that he lost some white support while he picked up non-whites. Exit polls just after the election can be inaccurate, but compared to the 58% of the white vote he won in 2020, this year he reportedly got only 55%, 59% of white men, but only 52% of white women. He won 45% of Hispanics, including a remarkable 54% of Hispanic men. Pablo was 2% more likely than Karen to vote for him, and 20% of black men reportedly voted for him. Sometimes the election felt more like a battle of the sexes than of the races, probably because his opponent was a woman and because of abortion. Mr. Trump was a misogynist fascist. Also, he had long interviews with Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, and Theo Vaughn, while Mrs. Emhoff stumped with lady celebrities, Beyonce, Jessica Alba, Michelle Obama, Oprah Winfrey, Lady Gaga, Cardi B, Jennifer Lopez, and a few men. One of the great Trump achievements is that Mrs. Emhoff will be out of a job in January. Tim Walz will go back to being governor of Minnesota. Ironically, at a rally the day before the election, Tim said of Trump that a Dem victory would mean that voters aren't ever going to have to see this guy on TV again and listen to him. That's the way I feel about them. This year also feels less like a victory for white people because we saw what President Trump did the last time. He did some useful things, but he missed many opportunities. In 2016, although Mr. Trump has some good instincts, I suspected he didn't really understand race. By the time his term ended, I was sure he didn't. In 2016, I thought it might just be possible that when he's talking to reporters, he might ask, what's wrong with whites wanting to stay the majority in the country they built? Or he might say, the reason there are so few blacks in the AP classes is because of that 15-point difference in the average black-white IQ. If the president said such things, even casually, the country would have to talk about them. Now I know he won't say those things. Either he doesn't think that way, or he doesn't have it in him. So what's in it for white people? I think there's only one thing we can count on. Mr. Trump will not let in that, 12 million, 15 million illegals Joe and Kamala waved in. If that's all he does for us, that'll be a great victory, and anything else will be gravy. And anything else is uncertain. Take mass deportation. It should be easy to just enforce the law, pitch the illegals out. Start with a big announcement to illegals. Get your things in order and leave now, or we'll come for you when you least suspect it. With a few forceful, convincing raids, enough to scare people, illegals would wind up their affairs and go home. It won't happen that way. There'll be endless litigation, sob stories about cute Guatemalan babies, churches turned into sanctuaries, goofy white women lying in the streets to stop the ICE vans, tearful scenes on the TV news. ICE agents will say they can't bear loading wailing women onto trucks. We'll hear all about boxcars to Auschwitz. The media will make Mr. Trump out to be an ogre, and he won't like it. It's true that last summer, 62% of registered voters said they wanted to deport all illegals. That included a third of Democrats. But a media blitz would dry those numbers right up. I'm not sure Donald Trump has the heart for mass deportation or could make Congress pay for it. He might finish the wall, which would be a nice monument to him. He has also talked about national E-Verify to make it harder for illegals to get jobs. He could try to end birthright citizenship through executive order, something he promised to do last time. Mr. Trump could put the brakes on the worst of DEI and critical race theory, but he can do that only within the federal government. Many universities will keep smothering students in tales of white wickedness. The more education and money whites have, the more likely they were to vote for Kamala Harris. I hope he has learned lessons from his first term. He will have Republican majorities in both houses of Congress. He better not piddle away that tremendous opportunity on lower taxes or trying to abolish Obamacare the way he did the last time. And he better have figured out that he won't get much done unless he appoints good people. It would be great if he turned Elon Musk loose with a meat axe so he can carve mountains of fat out of the bureaucracy. In his victory speech, Mr. Trump promised a new golden age for America, and he may even think he can deliver one. His followers seem to believe him. He brilliantly captured the bitterness and disaffection of millions of ordinary Americans who see how badly the country is going. But neither he nor his supporters understand that you can't make America great again with the people who are here now. By the time they're seniors in high school, average blacks and Hispanics are reading and doing math at the level of the average white and Asian 8th grader. This multiculti, polyglot, low IQ, dog's dinner of a country can't work together to accomplish much of anything. And non-whites will never cherish America the way many old stock whites still do. There will be no new golden age. I have other worries. At 78, Mr. Trump will be the oldest president ever sworn in, older than Joe Biden was 4 years ago. In his election night speech, he said, "Many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason, and that reason was to save our country and to restore America to greatness." Do we really want an 80-year-old president who thinks he's on a mission from God? There's no telling what direction he could fly off in, convinced it was God's will. But maybe this is just talk to keep the Christians on board. Now, don't misunderstand me. Mr. Trump is far, far better than Kamala Harris. And thank goodness enough Americans of all races decided to keep that quota hire out of the Oval Office. Mr. Trump has made promises he can't keep and won't keep, but he has rebuilt the Republican Party. It now openly puts America and Americans first. And I don't think the old country club party is coming back. So let us celebrate a remarkable victory. But don't for one moment think Donald Trump is our champion. We have as much work as ever to do. And with your support, we will be at it harder than ever. And you can join us. The annual American Renaissance Conference is just 1 week away. There'll be a lot to talk about. You can learn all about the conference at amren.com, amren.com. Thank you for watching.